coming over there. You know? And a wise commander knows when to retreat. Yeah? Let's go find Osama bin Laden, for crying out loud. Haven't found him yet. Apparently ignoring him at this point, because it would be a rather political embarrassment for Bush to get out and say, hey, by the way, everybody, haven't found Osama bin Laden yet because I'm too busy with Iraq. I mean, come on. Oh, and by the way, there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. There's a topic of discussion. How did we get gold into that? Here's a question to the international audience. Did the rest of you think there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq back in 2003 when we all were convinced? You know? Bush kept saying all these things. We have all this evidence. We have all this like, oh, I guess they're weapons of mass destruction. Odd that you didn't mention that before. You know? Like, why didn't we know about this 3 years ago or whatever, you know? And we get in, it turns out there are no weapons of mass destruction. Destroying the rationale for war. It'd be nice if the president came out and said, hey guys, turns out our rationale for war was false. I'm sorry about that. I don't think he ever said that. I think he just kind of ignored the issue and then just put the focus on democracy, which is a great thing. Hey, I want to spread democracy, but you gotta have a real plan of action. You gotta know how something is gonna work. You can't just intend for it to work. Not in war, anyway. Not when that much is at risk. So yeah, that plays right into the Mideast thing again, doesn't it? Because now there's even more conflict in the Mideast, not directly related to the Israel-Palestine stuff, but you know, and now Iran is being all threatening. It turns out Iran is this close to having a nuke. So they have weapons of mass destruction, but we attacked this other country that doesn't have weapons of mass destruction. Wow, we're smart. And now the president he's made like a couple of references to, like, you know, military options are on the table for Iran. Like, no, they're freaking not. We don't have any troops. What are you gonna do? Unless you want to literally nuke the whole country, which I guess you could do. We have enough nukes so that there's a topic for you. Why on earth do we still have enough nukes to blow up the entire planet, or rather every single living person on this planet, like 7 times over? We have enough nukes to kill every human in the world. Something like 7 times over. At least twice over. I know it's got to be at least that much. That seems stupid. You know? For any one country to have that amount of nukes. So there's a nuclear proliferation. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about Iran trying to get its hands on a nuclear bomb? That naturally makes us scared. Because they could nuke us, you know? That's the thing with, in the Cold War, there was, you know, what they called MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction. Whereas, okay, if we launch our nukes at the Soviets will nuke us. And if the Soviets nuke us, we nuke the Soviets. So, nobody's going to nuke anybody. Because no one's stupid enough to blow up the entire world. Problem is, suicide bombers are stupid enough to blow themselves up along with their enemies. We've seen it happen. Suicide bomber gets his hands on a nuke. Ugh, we could, like, wake up one day to find some major city is gone. You know? I mean, nukes aren't even that big. Like, you could fit one in a car. You know, like, a decent sized one anyway. I suppose there are also even bigger ones, ultra megaton warheads. But you know, the thing that blew up Hiroshima could fit in a car. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. I don't know. You do something about this weapons proliferation. Because you know it's only going to make the violence worse. Let's tone down the weapons. Let's invent some non-lethal weapons. How's that? Wouldn't that be amazing? If someday we invent war without death. You know, where you shoot a guy and he falls unconscious for 20 hours, and then you could, like, lock him up or something, but then at the end of the war, you could, like, send him home. You know? That'd be a great bargaining chip. Like, hey, if you declare truce with us, we'll take all your dead people, you know, people that we shot on the battlefield, but hey, they're not actually dead, and bring them back to you. That could cause a fair amount of truces. You know? I don't know. I hope that we do well in this next presidential election coming up 2008. for the president who will take office at the beginning of 2009. I hope we Americans pay attention, you know, and find someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Here, there's a question. Are you guys actually so aware of America that you know who's running for office? Is that how high the awareness level is? Because I tell you, I have no idea who's running for office in other countries. I may know who's in charge. Like, you know, Tony Blair off in Britain. Oh wait, he's like stepping down now. Anyway. But yeah. There's the thing we talk about in Enation. You got these candidates here. I, for one, have been looking at Barack Obama. He seems to be a good guy. I read one of his books. Thing is, I'm very cautious because I seem to remember throngs of people cheering for George Bush. And, you know, they were utterly wrong on their assessment of George Bush. So, you know, you see a bunch of people cheering for Obama. Gonna be cautious in giving you my support until I see some actual good ideas. And speaking of ideas, I seem to have given another dozen conversation possibilities, haven't I? Or rather haphazard right now. At some point things will go more in depth. I'm sure on most of these things you could go into an absurd level of depth involving many different people with many hour-long videos, etc., etc., etc. At the moment, I'm trying to avoid having to split this thing into multiple pieces like everything else I've done. So yeah, those are some of my very random thoughts about you just said. Somebody please respond to me. We'll start the snowball. Start going. And by the way, you can name any issue at all that you think anybody else would like to talk about. And if we like to talk about it, we will. And if we don't, then we won't. Thanks for listening. See you later.